Christopher Gallardo with popternative.com, and let me tell you about Wolfman, which is one of the most intriguing horror movie adaptations I think I've seen. It's written and directed by Leigh Whannell, and it's produced by Universal Pictures and Blumhouse, which is adapting the 1941 original movie. It follows a father, mother, and daughter as they inherit this old family home in the middle of the forest. However, they're stalked by this mysterious looming entity known as the Wolfman. As they try to fend for themselves against this threat, the father accidentally gets injured and begins to undergo this messy, gruesome transformation. Now the father is tasked with surviving the night with his family and escaping, or defeating the Wolfman once and for all. The scares in this movie are just incredible. The cinematography follows the family as they're creeping along and the Wolfman lurking behind them in just the right spots, and when those scares hit, they actually really do hit. The Wolfman himself has all of these amazing prosthetics which are such beautifully detailed, and just seeing the prosthetics come to life on screen with those practical effects in those fight scenes and in those jump scares is just completely terrifying. And speaking of the Wolfman himself, there's actually more than one Wolfman, which I actually didn't see coming, but when you watch the film itself, you start to understand how there are actually two Wolfmen in this film, and it's somewhat quite surprising. And the fight scenes between these two Wolfmen is just so intense and so bloody and so gruesome that I can't even begin to describe how crazy these fight scenes even get. And the third act itself, which involves much of the fight scenes, is just pure adrenaline. So sticking for the film throughout the entire film and just sticking for the third act is just amazing. However, it can be a bit of a trudge in the second act, especially when they're trying to figure out a way to cure the father of his transformation, which obviously is going to take a lot of work, but just having that second act and the way that it is and the way that it's paced, it feels like it can be slow to get through, and to be honest, it might put you to sleep at some points, but getting to the third act is just the main point, and getting to the third act itself is just amazing. And also the family dynamic between the mother, father, and daughter is just so sweet to see in the first act, especially when they're trying to sort of figure out how their marriage is going, how the father and mother's marriage is going. It's just sweet, it's heartfelt, and in that moment it's just so cute with the daughter's interactions as well. And it was really, really compelling in the first act, but however, when it gets into the third act, it can sort of feel like it's being a bit cheesy by having that connection, because the daughter believes that she can read minds. She has this bit going on with the father where they sort of had this playful thing where she can read minds, and they do this thing at the end where she can read the father's mind when he's undergoing this transformation, which is kind of cheesy, but it's also kind of that sweet cheesy feeling that you can sort of get. But the transformation that the father goes through is just so bloody and so gruesome. It made me cringe at some points, not gonna lie. And it was just seeing that one particular scene where he's just biting and clawing at his arm, and all the blood and practical effects in that scene is just so disgusting. Honestly, Christopher Abbott and Julia Garner are just so good as Charlotte and Blake, the mother and father in this film. You can sort of feel the pain they're going through as husband and wife, and how they're sort of coping with all the situations that are happening in this film, and seeing them just trying to deal with all of that is just so heartwarming. It's an entire family dynamic that really sticks with you as you watch the entire film, even as Blake undergoes this huge transformation, and just seeing him transform into this grotesque monster, this abomination, while the mother still has this sympathy for her husband, is just so sweet and so heartwarming. So I recommend this as a good horror movie, but as a movie, I think it still has some kinks to work out, but it makes for a solid watch nonetheless. So check out my review on popternative.com.